I had never believed in mysticism, and I was lenient toward all mystical stories, considering them to be just more cryptic tales. But what happened to me last spring shattered my whole notion of mysticism and made me look at the industry from a different angle. Let's introduce ourselves. My name is Eugene and I am 48 years old. I've been looking for a place to retreat to with my memories for a long time, a small house outside of town. After seeing a decent amount of sights and houses, I noted with sadness that they are all monotonous and monotonous, do not cause any desire to settle inside. Yes, that's how picky I am. With my modest income, I give a posh mansion with modern furniture. Well, of course, I exaggerate. I wanted something beautiful, gentle, so as soon as you go in my soul sang and rejoiced. And finally I smiled at luck. The price is reasonable and the house is just a fairy tale. I got attached to it at first sight. And it would seem that I should have thought immediately, why such a cheap price and such a good product? But that didn't bother me that day. After handing over the necessary amount of money, I decided to spend the night in my new dwelling. After a good look at the building, both outside and inside, I found a very comfortable room, as if created for me. I laid out my bedclothes and went out on the balcony, and watched the sunset for a long time, until it got dark. Finally, when it was completely dark, I went to bed and breathed in the smell of my new home. It smelled of some wonderful flowers, and that smell was everywhere. Together with the fresh air from the ajar window, it was intoxicating and intoxicating. From the feeling of relaxation and intoxication I fell asleep quickly. And I woke up just as quickly. There was an impenetrable darkness in the room, letting in only the outlines of the furniture. The room was completely different. I could see the silhouette of a massive closet that gleamed in the sunlight during the day, but at night, when no light penetrated through the open window, the massive giant seemed furry. It smelled different, too. I sniffed and almost vomited in disgust. It smelled like rot, damp, and dust, and together this romeo smells created a very disgusting sensation. I finally opened my eyes, and the dark shroud dissipated slightly. I found my phone and switched on my flashlight, shining it carefully in the direction of the closet. The darkness reluctantly parted to the sides, and then I saw something that made my hair stand on end. No, it wasn't a corpse. It was mold. Disgusting green moss, cobwebs, slime, mold. The closet was rotten and overgrown. Yes, what can I say, not just the closet, the whole house looked like a monster that had surfaced from the swamp. Rising from the hitherto pleasant bed I almost screamed. The mattress, which I could not see because of the thick darkness, was now glowing, so that I could get a good look at it. I almost threw up. It was all moss, and the mummified corpses of pigeons and sparrows were spilling out through the holes. When I noticed the layer of dead cockroaches, I couldn't restrain my reflexes and rushed out of the room and stopped. The rotten floor beneath me creaked disgustingly. I sniffed the air and could barely contain my gagging. It was rotten, thick, sticky, a smell that words could not describe. My head fogged up and I rushed forward, ignoring the rot and squelching sounds beneath my feet. I rushed down the rickety stairs to the first floor, risking to fall under the ancient floor to the exit. Only when I ran out into the fresh air I felt relieved. I took a deep breath of fresh air and decided to ask the neighbors to sleep over, but my head, apparently completely confused by the stinking smell, decided to send his feet in a completely different direction. Unaware of what I was doing, I ran in a completely different direction and tripped over a rock and fell down a bag right on my stomach. There was a small stone wall in front of me, and I stood up to see what it was. It turned out to be an open well, and that was where the nasty smell was coming from. I bent in half again, barely able to restrain myself. My thoughts were off again, my intuition was working. With difficulty, I lifted the rotten lid of the well with unbending fingers, and closed it. The smell began to weed out. And in my head I felt sure that everything was right. And with that thought I fell asleep peacefully, passed out right on the grass. I woke up in the morning, birds were singing and the sun was blinding my eyes. A house like a house, a well like a well, but I hurriedly packed up and left the house. And although I know that now such things should not happen at night, I never slept there again. Now the house is on the market, for a very small sum. And I'm waiting for the right buyer to pay attention to the clause in the description of the house. Never open the well.